my opinion is I understand he's a gorilla, but like strength in numbers. I mean, if you get like just 10, 15 at once, just in waves,
My only thing is like, how are we gonna kill this thing? Like, if you don't have tools, like
that's
you
what
were
I'm
saying,
saying. You can't
are
choke it
you just
out.
like
Like,
you
what?
can't choke it out?
Jokic put up 36 and 21 in one game, and they still had the Lakers on.
And it's kind of, as a Chelsea fan, it's embarrassing to me. It's like we should be in the Champions League.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the From the Stands podcast. We're coming back at you on this another Friday night, getting ready away from the Thursday night episodes now because we have so much going on apparently during the week. So we're coming at you on this Friday night, May 2nd. Right in the middle of the NBA playoffs in the first round. As we talked about last week, a few more games have been played. Most of the series have been decided, but we'll get into those first round matchups a little bit in this episode. And then also talk about the Champions League semis that have just wrapped up this past week as well. So we'll get into another podcast that has just a lot to talk about. So, but before we get into that, Fezzy boy, what's been going on, not just with us, but going on online the last week or so?
What's good, everybody? Yeah, good to be back. A little technical difficulties. So hopefully this episode isn't too long. We're coming at you at 9:30 right now. We started at, what was it, like 8:45, and
Yeah, something like
it's already been almost 45 minutes. So we're gonna bring it to you guys like we always do. But yeah, not a whole lot going on over here. So I guess I'll just bring it right over to what's going on online. We like to think that we're pretty cultured with everything going on and happening. So we're going to discuss the big topic that's been going around the internet lately. Would 100 men be able to beat one gorilla? Which is like an interesting thought to think of. I don't even know. Like, have you actually put like some serious thought into this?
Yes. I got into
Like,
like a huge debate with people at work today, dude.
all
Like it was
right,
like
let's
we
hear it.
were
I need a little
15,
time to
20
process it.
minutes in.
Nice.
So my big thing is like obviously it kind of goes without saying that like you can't use weapons for the
Right.
for the fight, right? But like my thing is like can you use like bone and skull from like other deceased people to as weapons? Like
I
that's my
mean,
big thing. But my opinion is like I understand he's a gorilla, but like strength in numbers. Like I mean,
yeah.
if you get like just 10, 15 at once, just in waves, like I don't think I mean
Yeah.
I understand the gorilla is strong and stuff like that. And I like I've seen some of the statistics they be rolling out, but I mean if there's 100 of us, another thing is like can we pick like who's out there? Like I understand you gotta like have a representation of like nerds, athletes, like whatever, but like I'm gonna
Right.
assume that we'll have enough people that kind of know what they're doing. Just throw the nerds in the front lines to make them get tired, and then
Yeah.
then we take over. So I don't know. I think I love when stuff like this takes over the internet for a while,
Yeah.
just for the memes and also just like
Yeah.
the stuff that comes out, bro,
Absolutely.
is hilarious. So, what do you think?
Yeah, no, that's great analysis. That's what we're here to do on this podcast. I have been seeing a lot of people like give their opinions online, and I even saw like, have you seen the simulator that they throw like all these different scenarios into?
Yes.
And I'm just like, dude, this what is going on? I think someone did like 1,000,000 men versus like 10,000 gorillas. I was just like,
Dude,
what
I
am I
just saw that
watching?
before I hopped on here. I was on Instagram. I was like, what is this?
I was like, what is going on? No, I think like, yeah, you have to think about it like how you were saying it. Like obviously this isn't in like a complete vacuum. Like you're gonna have dead bodies laying around. Like use what you have. Also, you gotta think about like where is this happening? Like is this just like a cage, like a giant cage with
Yeah.
everybody in it, or is this happening, I don't know, out in the jungle or whatever? So that plays a factor. But and then kind of like what you were saying, like, is this just like 100 average men, or is this like a variety? Like, there's a lot of, I guess you could say unknowns. But if we just took average men, my only thing is like, how are we gonna kill this thing? Like, if you don't have tools, like
That's
you
what
were
I'm
saying,
saying. You can't
are
choke it
you just
out.
like,
Like
You
what?
can't choke it out. I don't think you're strong enough to like snap the gorilla's neck. Like, I mean,
You're gonna need like four people on there just trying to,
so like, are we trying to
end it.
bludgeon this thing to death? And how long is that going to take? Like, if we're
But what
all
are we
and
using to bludgeon? Like
yeah, like if
there's
it's our
no
fist, like
weapons,
we ain't doing jack to this thing, man.
right?
Yeah, I don't know. And the other thing is, it's like one gorilla. Like even if you have 100 men, there's not enough like space around the gorilla for everybody to be
Right.
doing something, you
Yeah.
know. And so it's like you're gonna have like maybe 10 to 15 guys that can actually do something at a time. So
Right.
it's really only 10, 15 guys attacking. So I don't know. It's so hard to say. I guess we have to actually give opinions. I'm gonna say I think the gorilla handles us pretty pretty well, especially if it's this giant silverback gorilla dude. Like we're not standing a chance. Like I've seen Planet of the Apes that they don't mess around, dog.
I've seen some videos. There's some zoo stuff, and their strength, bro, is
Dude.
insane. But I've also heard some zoologists apparently say that they're not like this, like they seem like super intelligent, but they're not the smartest of animals. So
Mm,
more than likely, we'd be able to, handle business after a while. But my thing is like also like you said, the terrain and stuff is interesting because it's like, can I just like sacrifice my buddy and then I come in like off the tree and just like,
right.
little suplex action or something, knock him out like while he's dazed. I don't know. It's
Yeah, but
interesting.
if there's stuff to climb on, then that gorilla's just
Right.
like going ham climbing on stuff, and we're
Yeah,
just
he's camping in the tree and just like grabbing somebody by a foot and just using him as a,
yeah, dude. So I'm saying
so
like
crazy, bro.
if there's no like trees and it's pretty level terrain, there's nothing to climb. I mean, even then, I think I'm still going gorilla, man. I'm
Mm.
still going. I think I'm still. I mean, if we had like 100 Dwayne the Rock Johnsons out there, I think maybe. But like, I'm thinking like average dudes that are like somewhat in shape. But that's the other thing. Like, we're gonna get tired, bro.
I
Like,
know we're gonna get tired, bro, but there's 100 of us. Like we swarm him like ants. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like literally 15, 20 of us at a time. On him, like
yeah,
five guy on an arm, five more guys on the other arm. Other guys have
yeah.
his neck. One guy's like poking his eye. Like we're getting like super into this now, but like super like just just on every. Like, I think we can do it, bro.
Yeah. All
I
right. So
mean, we'd have
you're
to
going us.
sacrifice some brothers in the process for sure, but
That's facts. Like the first
eventually, man, eventually.
Yeah, like the first 15 to 20 guys that start doing anything are dead, but then it gives us the chance to actually get in there and do some damage. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I'm still going gorilla though. I think
Fair enough. Fair
I don't
enough.
know. I'm gonna go gorilla. I'm team gorilla, but
All right.
I'm assuming your team 100 average dudes.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do it. 100 average dudes. Yeah.
Well, it has to be your opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah.
We
I'll
need to be
go. I'll go
concise.
with our kind. You're a traitor.
I'm a traitor. Like I said, I've just seen Planet of the Apes too much. They figured it
Yeah.
out. We're all dead. But
Yes. So.
but anyways, that's a little fun for you guys to start the podcast off. We just wanted to throw that in there since it's been going around the internet, and we wanted to stay relevant for sure.
Yeah. Maybe we'll
But
bring this back as a recurring segment if we have enough stuff to talk about in
yeah,
Instagram, TikTok world.
more just brain rot on the internet that we can talk to you guys
So
about.
true.
But anyways, with that being said, we're gonna get into the episode now.
Jumping straight into the NBA portion of the podcast here. As I said, we are almost done with the first round of the playoffs. Got a couple game sevens coming up. But we're going to start out with the Knicks and the Pistons series. That one came to an end last night. Knicks taking the dub 4-2 in the series. Really exciting series, even though it ended in 6. Still a very, very good series. Pistons are up and coming team against a Knicks team that I would say, I guess, is kind of established at this point. It's like their third or fourth straight year in the playoffs. Got some established all stars at this point on their team and everything. Definitely the favorite coming in. With, like I said, an up and coming Pistons team being for the first time in the playoffs in a long, long time. So next, get the dub in this one. This one was a big time Jalen Brunson game. He did pretty well throughout the whole game. Had a little bit of a stutter there in the fourth, but came up with a huge shot with the shot clock or the game clock, I should say, winding down. So he gets them just past the Pistons. Really, in every game this series, it was a super close game, max like 5 points either way in basically every game. So really tight series, but Knicks end up getting the dub. Fezzy boy, how'd you see this one?
Yeah, I think we both picked the Pistons to make it through. Obviously, little too much this year. The Pistons are set up for success the next few years. They got a
Yeah.
couple young guys. They're gonna retool for sure. Obviously through the draft, through free agency and stuff like that. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah, it was
They've
kind of a
made
Brunson
themselves to
game.
be a pretty good destination in free agency for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Who doesn't want to play with Cade and all these young guys? One of the Thompson twins. Yeah, like I mean, they're set, man. Not sure about their coach. I think they might need he's a good coach. I mean, he left the Cavs, now the Cavs are doing all right with their new coach, but anyways, we'll get into that a little bit later. Uh I didn't have the Knicks winning. I thought the Pistons were young enough to get past a Knicks team that I don't know, kind of they're underwhelming with the players that they have. They're definitely underwhelming. But yeah, Brunson hit a huge, like, dude, crazy shot. Step back three for the win. Obviously the Pistons had a chance at the end. Bit of a fumble, turnover. Kind of
So
a
I hate when games end like that when they don't even get a shot off. So
yeah, such a
disappointing.
sad way to not even lose a game, but lose a series. Like that's just, I mean, that's
Malik Beasley
heartbreaking. Not
was
even to have a chance.
wide open too, and he
I
just like
know, dude.
butterfingered it out of bounds.
I mean, you can kind of tip your hat towards Bridges because he shot
He
the
was
gap on that
there.
pass and
Yeah.
kind of made the pass like Cade had to like really get it, zip it to him, and I don't think Beasley was ready for it. But regardless, whoever ended up getting out of this series was getting bounced out by the Celtics. So at the end of the day, I don't think it really
Wow.
matters who won this one. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Pistons do in the offseason. If the I don't know, Brunson's gonna have to play out of his mind against the Celtics. But this was a fun series for sure. I like seeing the Pistons and those young guys be competitive.
Yeah, I totally agree. I kind of became a little bit of a Pistons fan here in the playoffs. Obviously, I was kind of always kind of following them a little bit because of Cade, but definitely this year he kind of drugged them to the playoffs. I like a lot of their pieces too, like Asar Thompson. He's
Yeah,
crazy good defender. Like he's just like you were saying, like super
so good.
athletic. I love Jalen Duran as well. Just big guy down low, super athletic as well. Can
Mm-hmm.
defend really well. So they've got some great pieces there. Um, like I said before, I think they're going to be a big free agency target as well. So we'll see
Mm-hmm.
kind of how they're able to build in the next couple years. One thing I did want to mention though, I feel like I don't know, I don't. I feel like we talk about the refs all the time, but like this series, like
Yeah,
every game that I saw, like the NBA has a huge problem with like the bias that the refs seemingly show to all the big market teams, New York,
yeah.
LA. So
Mm-hmm.
like I just felt like every time that like the Pistons would go on a pretty good run, like a 10-0 run, like they would get like three straight calls that were just like sketchy in their favor. And then like I don't know, like and that's not every time, but it's just like you feel like if that was like Oklahoma City or like Denver or
Right.
somebody like that, is like they wouldn't be getting those calls. And obviously they have Brunson on their team as well, who's like foul baiter in chief over there, just like throwing his head back like every time he drives to the hoop. Like I
Yeah.
was texting Jared, I think it was last night after some of the games, and like I can't tell you how much I dislike guys like Harden, Brunson.
Mm, mm.
Like this is gonna be kind of like I'm a huge Thunder fan. Shea is getting this way where he's just like constantly
Right.
like they're driving to flop, like
Mm-hmm.
driving the lane to like throw their hands into someone to throw their head back. And it's so like anti basketball. It just drives me insane.
Yeah.
And like the refs encourage it by giving Brunson all these like ticky tack fouls when he's like not even trying to like actually shoot or actually drive.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like trying to create contact, which I hate. But yeah, I feel like if it was anybody else but the Knicks, the Pistons might have, like I don't know how much the ref stuff really matters, but like when every single game is close like that, it's tough to think that there might not have been a different outcome if there was another team from a different city on the other side. But
Yeah.
congrats to the Knicks. They definitely have a good squad. I feel like offensively they're not getting quite as much help as they did last year. With Brunson and everything, I felt like Josh Hart was way more active on the offensive end. Obviously, they have
Mhm.
Carl Anthony Towns now, who's pretty good. Like he hit some deep threes.
Yeah.
But we'll see how they'll be able to do it against the Celtics. I think that if the Knicks from last year faced the Celtics of this year, maybe it would have been a little bit more of a series. But like you said, we'll see.
Yeah.
So, but moving on to the Clippers and the Nuggets. As I said last week, this is probably the biggest game or the biggest matchup, I guess, of the first round here, and it's living up to it as well. They are now pushed to a game 7 with the Clippers win last night. Fuzzy boy, what do you think about the game last night? I don't know how much of it you saw, but what do you got to say about Jokic and company going down, having to go to a 6th or a 7th game at home?
Yeah, I mean, talk about bias. It's hard to find this game. Like I'm glad the Lakers are out now because they're actually going to show some other games other than the Lakers Timberwolves and the Lakers absolutely imploding, which we'll get to. But other than that, no, I love this series, dude. I think it's a super bad draw for both of them because if they were playing anybody else, they would be the favorites to move on in those series, I believe. Even with Denver losing their coach right before the playoffs, but I think it's cool to see Kawhi actually playing to the level that we all expect. Like, he's gone through some really tough injuries, having a hard time staying on the court. He gets flack for load management and all this, but he's not a very outspoken guy, kind of keeps his head down. It's not even like not even outspoken. He's a bit of an awkward dude.
Yeah.
We've all seen the meme of him laughing and stuff like that, but dude, he is playing incredible this series. And he's a big reason why they've pushed it this far because honestly, without him, the Nuggets probably would have already finished the series by this point. I still
Yeah.
have the Nuggets going through, I believe, but yeah, super great series, really entertaining to watch when you can find it on TV. But no, that game
I
7
think
is going to be good.
two of these games were on NBA TV, so
Mm-hmm.
it kind of shows you
Yeah,
which is crazy because I feel like it's pretty known, around that
yeah,
this is the greatest series of the first round. So
for
it's
sure.
definitely tough, but yeah, it's been a great series so far. Obviously, the Nuggets losing the other night, but the game before that, um, I just feel like I need to shout out because Russell Westbrook had an insane game. I think he scored like 23 points on like 25 minutes or something like that. Had a few
Yeah,
assists in there as well. He was like, I think he was 4 for 6 from three. I was like, what is going on now? So it was
dude.
it was cool just like running that back and seeing him perform really, really well. I think he
Right.
sat out game 3 or 4. So that was his
Yeah,
first
with
game back.
what?
So I think he had foot inflammation or something like that. So
Gotchas. Okay.
obviously didn't affect him too much in the first game he played back. But I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to have to really come up big in Game 7. He only scored, I think, five or 6 points the other night
Oh.
when they lost. So they're going to need way more production out of him, especially because he's just such a one-dimensional player. Like that's all he does is shoot threes. He can't
Mm-hmm.
pass. He can't play defense. He's just like he needs to be shooting well if he's going to be out there. So I
Yeah.
think that he's a big piece, but I'd be also remiss if I didn't mention the goat of the playoffs, Jamal Murray.
Dude.
I gave him a big plaudits, I guess, last week in saying that he's one of the best playoff risers in our current day NBA, and he definitely proved it after I said that. Went off for
Yeah.
43 points in the game after, and I think he had a pretty good game the other night as well, even though that they did lose. But so huge games by him, but obviously they're gonna have to be drugged through the finish line by Jokic if they're gonna win that game 7. Harden has been known to not perform very well in these later stages of series, so we'll see how what stat line he's able to put up. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure if you had too much to add to that, but should be a great game like the other games have been as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And I just like, dude, I remember I sent something to you. I can't remember what it was, but basically to the effect it was saying like Jamal Murray statistically is like one of the best, if not the best playoff performer. And I could be totally getting this wrong, but I think there's a list of like their points per games go up like
Yeah.
drastically, and I think he's like number 2 on that list,
Yeah.
and then number 3
Something
is
like that.
Jokic. So like literally have 2 of the best playoff performers on their team, which is just insane, dude. And Jokic is like crazy, anyways. But yeah, I just thought that really just like solidified your take last week. And that reel actually popped off a little bit on YouTube Shorts. So the people definitely agreed with you for sure. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Definitely excited to watch Game 7 tomorrow night. So that should be a great game. Moving on to, or keeping it in the West, I should say. LA Lakers losing in 5 to the Timberwolves.
In
I think
5.
this line here was just perfect because I don't not sure how much everybody keeps up with sports media, but there was a few different people out there having all kinds of stuff to say about the Lakers after they got Luka and secured the third seed and everything. That Lakers were just going to run through to a title and saying all kinds of stuff like Lakers in 5, but they lose in 5 to the Timberwolves with Anthony
Yeah,
Edwards and
man.
company. How'd you see this series, and why do you think the Lakers ultimately came up way short against the Timberwolves?
Yeah, I think we've just kind of gone over it a lot, but just lacking size, and this was the matchup they did not want. Like again, we've talked about it in the past podcasts, but yeah, they wanted to wrap up that 3 seed to miss OKC or the Warriors eventually, but or the Warriors in the first round, but I mean, they ended up drawing a Timberwolves team that was coming into form, really, really good size and length, and they had absolutely no answers, even offensively, to get past that. And then, I mean, we should probably touch on this because it's going around the sports world right now, and I'll kind of pass it to you after I give some of my thoughts. But JJ Redick played, I think, in Game 4, all the starters, all the minutes in the second half, or was it
The
fourth
fourth
quarter?
quarter, but I mean,
Fourth
like
quarter.
90% of the second half too. So
Yeah, and didn't sub anybody out, and everyone's saying it's kind of a rookie mistake, rookie move, which I tend
yeah,
to lean that way. Like, I mean, you gotta give, especially LeBron. LeBron's 40 years old, dude.
yeah.
He's on year like 22 or something like that. Like, come on, man. Like, I get you want to be a revolutionary, and that's kind of like it was such a JJ thing to do. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do something so out of the box. This has to work. And then he kind of followed that up in Game 5 where he didn't play any of their size. Jackson Hayes didn't touch the floor. You're playing a 40-year-old LeBron at the 5 against Rudy Gobert, who had a really, really good game. But I mean, just playing small ball when the other team's bigger. I mean, I don't know. It just didn't seem to be the play. So I don't know what you have to say about that, but I didn't agree with it at all.
Yeah, I think he definitely ran his team into the ground, for sure. That was like just a few days removed from Luca being super sick after the whatever kind of poison he got or whatever from or food poisoning, and LeBron being really up there in age. We were just talking last week about um, he obviously he's incredible for 40 years old, but like come playoff time, like some of his age is showing, like his not being able to shoot like he usually does, not being able to get up and throw dunks down. Like there's other ways to be effective, but that is his game is getting up there, being athletic and stuff. And he still shows flashes, but definitely in crunch time, definitely struggled a lot. I think it's interesting you mentioned JJ Redick just because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, he got snubbed for Coach of the Year and all that." And I was like, my first reaction was like, "No, like I don't think that at all." Because like before he was gifted a top 5 player in the league. Like the Lakers were in the play-in. Like no one was even talking about them even contending for a title, let alone or sorry, being in the playoffs, let alone contending for a title. And then when he gets a top 5 player on his team, and they're pushing for a third seed, everybody's like, "Oh, it's JJ, it's JJ." So I think a lot of that conversation. Paired with where they ended up in the seating, maybe JJ's got a little bit of a big head there, and just kind of think, well, I'm, smarter than everyone else. I'm going to do this,
Yeah.
in this game or whatever. And obviously it came back to bite him because not only did he run his team into the ground, but I think that they were, they were pretty exhausted the next game as well. So just definitely not, I think like you said, maybe it's like one of those rookie mistakes that you learn from, but Yeah, super tough. I think it just came down to the fact, kind of what we were saying last week. I feel like it's just outside their first three options, they just don't have very much. Like
Right.
he played Maxi Kleba in Game 6,
Yeah, like
like
what are you thinking, man?
a few minutes, and he didn't play Jackson Hayes at all. And like everyone's like baffled by that. Like why? Like he said that before the game. I was like, why would you say that? Like
Yeah,
especially in a playoff game where like you want to keep the other team guessing as much as you can. Why would you just come out and say that you're not going to play your only center at all that game?
right.
And it goes without like not just that, but like why is he not playing? Like is it something internal? Like is it not because you don't like him? Like
Yeah.
especially at a position where they need so much help. Like it's like they don't have anybody there. Like they had Dorian Finney-Smith playing center minutes there. So like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just super weird overall. I'm not impressed with the Lakers at all. I'm so glad they lost,
No,
bro. Like the
no.
media, like
Yeah.
they're just trying to push them into the NBA finals. I was like, bro, they
Dude,
suck.
they were squeezing every ounce of juice they could out of the Lakers. It was so annoying, like turning on First Take, and I love Greeny and Get Up, but like even there, it was like what are the Lakers gonna do? It's like no, we have like all these other series, and Greeny did a better job at like showing the other series, but it's ESPN,
Jokic
dude,
put up 36 and 21 in one game, and
and
they
it
still had the
got
Lakers on.
yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
So
I
crazy,
mean,
bro.
but the one thing I was gonna say before we kind of get off this JJ topic was, did you see his comments today about like, some of our guys are in shape and the other ones really need to get into shape and
Yeah, I did see
they got to
that.
figure it out. I feel like JJ thrives off of rubbing people the wrong way, and like everybody you talk to, like a lot of the
He did go to
analysts,
Duke.
he did go to Duke, and he was considered the most hated player in the country. So, I mean, I can definitely see why. That was before my time watching any sort of college basketball. But yeah, I mean, even the people he worked with at ESPN say he's an acquired taste. I'm just like, I kind of get it. I kind of get it. Like, why are you saying these things, man? Like, do you just think that you have some sort of entitlement to just say whatever you want? I get you're the coach. It's not kind of out of bounds for you to say, but like,
Yeah.
maybe don't say that like a day removed from losing, and everyone knows who you're talking about. Like, you're not being you're not you're not being slick with kind of throwing everybody in there. But we all know you're talking about Luca. We
Yeah.
all know it.
Yeah. Um, I did want to touch on like the Luca and the LeBron before we give the Timberwolves their flowers, because Jared's probably listening to this like, why aren't you guys talking about the Timberwolves? We beat them.
Yes, sir.
But we
We'll
do
get
need to
into it.
address a couple things. LeBron legacy questions here. Obviously, another year where he gets bounced in the first round. Since he's been a Laker, I think he has missed the playoffs in their first year. Won the championship in the bubble, lost in the first round, missed the playoffs, Western Conference Finals, and then lost in the first round this year, or something like that. Don't quote me on that exactly, but it's basically been first round exits or missing playoffs outside of the bubble championship. So, what do you think that this does to LeBron's legacy now with him just being a Laker, all the hype and the excitement that comes around that, what he's supposed to be and what he's supposed to be as a Laker? Like, how do you think this affects his legacy, not just as a player overall, but as a Laker?
I mean, as a Laker, it's not a good look. I mean, he's gotten that, like you said, he's gotten that championship in the bubble. That's about it. He had Anthony Davis, and I mean, after that, they've struggled to make the playoffs. They've struggled to get out of the first round. They had that crazy, weird Western Conference run, um, eventually losing to the Nuggets, and the Nuggets went on to win the championship, so it made them look a little bit better. But yeah, other than that, he hasn't done a whole lot in a bigger market than Cleveland with more money, better players, and so I don't know. I Obviously his legacy as a whole will never be. I mean, the man's played like four careers, so like
Yeah.
three out of the four careers went super well. Like, yeah, I don't think he's too worried about his career overall. But as a Laker, the ending in his career, I mean, when you got Steph making further runs, because I'm assuming they're going to win tonight. I haven't kept up with that game, but I'm assuming they're going to
A
win
bold
tonight and make
assumption.
it past the first round. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. It definitely taints it a little bit. I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for sure. So I did look it up, and this is how his career as a Laker has gone. Missed playoffs, won the bubble championship, lost in the first round, missed the playoffs, swept by the Nuggets in the conference finals, first round, first round. So obviously not great.
Wow.
I know everybody, when he went to the Lakers back in 18 or 19, thought that this was like the
Mm,
Lakers reborn, and they were like bound for, just great success for a while. And obviously they did get a championship, but this is a whole nother debate, but I think there's a huge asterisk next to that bubble championship. Just going to put that out there. A lot of people are saying that he's just kind of playing for vibes and records right now. Like he doesn't really care that much about winning, because right after they got bounced, he's saying that he's not going to take a pay cut. I was like, bro, you're a billionaire. You should be taking like vet min money to like get as much talent on your team as possible. But by you making max contract money at the age of 40 something, when you're clearly not, he's not that top tier guy anymore, like that's not going to help you win. So he's getting a lot of scrutiny for that. My big thing is like, I feel like I even said it when he was playing for Cleveland, was that I feel like he's an Eastern Conference merchant, bro. Like, obviously everybody says he made it to all those finals in a row. Whatever. Yes, impressive. But like even now, bro, like even post LeBron, the East is so much worse than the West. Like the Celtics, like the East has one team every year that is going to run through the East and make it to the finals like easily. And that was LeBron's team for a really, really long time. And then you come over to the
yeah.
West, it's just absolutely stacked, and homie can't get past the first round. So
Hmm.
it's just, I feel like it coming to the Lakers and playing in the West where there's actually more competition has tainted his legacy a little bit. But that's just my opinion, and we can get into a whole legacy talk some other time. But definitely some of the things um, that people are kind of coming down on him. Obviously, everybody always comes down on LeBron once he makes his exit in the NBA playoffs, is kind of a thing. But it's kind of getting to the end here where it's just like, all right, bro, you're gonna have to start making some sacrifices, especially with Luka there. He's not the guy going forward. So that's a good
Right.
segue into Luka. The only reason I bring that up is because there's a lot of questions around his future now. Still technically has a year on the contract, but is he going to want to stick around and kind of wait for LeBron to retire? He's not going to be freeing up any salary cap anytime soon, and wait for him to retire, or run it back with a Lakers squad that's really going to be paying two guys and hope for another top five player to be gifted to them, or what? What do you think is going to go through his head? These next couple months.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what he wants to put up with. Like it kind of goes back to what JJ's comments. Like, if he wants to kind of put up with people that are going to be like what he put up with in Dallas, people that don't believe in him, people think that he's overweight, this, that, and the other. It just really comes down to what Luka wants to do because he's so good. He can sign anywhere he wants. He just puts like if he decided that he didn't want to re-sign with the Lakers, everybody in the league would be just clamoring for him. Like they would take Luka in a heartbeat. And so I believe Luka's gonna want to run it back. He's gonna want to get a full season with the Lakers.
Yeah.
They're gonna retool. They're gonna get some size, and that's where Luka thrives. If he gets a Blake Lively type big that can rim run, rim protect,
Blake Lively,
and help him play
Derek Lively.
defense. Derek Lively, sorry, Blake
Blake
Lively.
Lively
Holy
out there
crap!
just balling, bro.
Oh, Blake Lively, dude. As soon I knew that didn't sound right, but I was like, I'm just gonna roll with it. Anyways, Derek, is it Derek? Derek Lively.
Derek, yeah.
I'm gonna be second guessing every name I say now in
Oh,
this
good.
pod. Anyways, the Lakers are definitely gonna retool, and I think Luka's gonna want to stick around and at least see what that looks like. Get a full year with LeBron, and yeah, see what they can do next season, whether it implodes or ends up in a championship. I think it's just good to want to see.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think that his contract situation, if I'm in his shoes, kind of works out perfectly. Like he has one more year on the deal, so you get one more full year with the Lakers. See kind of what's going on with that. If he wants out at the end of that year, maybe he bounces. But I feel so bad for him, dude. Like I've probably said this on the pod before, but like he finally, like it took the Mavs so long, like many years, to
Mhm.
build the right team around him for him to succeed. He stuck it out, signed an extension. Like he was patient with the front office. He finally has a team that can go, goes to the final, 3 games away from winning the NBA Finals, and front office does him dirty, ships him out to the Lakers, and it's literally the exact same situation. Like he has to start from scratch. Like it's kind of
Uh-huh.
like when they had Dirk on his last years. Same thing with LeBron. He's still kind of there, but like if we're honest, he's not going to be getting you to an NBA championship. And then he has a bunch of scrubs around him, so like they're going to have to massively retool the roster to get any kind of traction and catch up on any of the teams really in the West. Because even though they got the third seed, like they were never the best the third best team in the West, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the seeds, in my opinion, the seeds don't matter much at all because the Timberwolves, obviously, they're not playing like a 6th seed. Um, you
Mhm.
know, Clippers are 5th seed technically, but they could be higher than like that's just all that. So we'll see. The Dude, if this happens, I'm gonna make a whole montage about it. But like the Jokic and Luca, like I wouldn't say reunion because I've never played together, but the union there is getting
Yeah.
loud. Like obviously, internet doesn't mean anything, but like if that happens, that would be that would be crazy. I'm gonna like run back from like what was it? When did he get traded? Earlier this year, and just start putting
Mhm.
montages together of me being like Jokic and Lucas should play together. But
Dude,
um
that would be awesome.
that would be amazing. So, but anyway, we've spent enough time on the Lakers and the Timberwolves. Big, huge props to the Timberwolves. Gobert with like a 27-20 game or something crazy. So that
Yeah.
just shows you how much the lack of a center will hurt you when you got Gobert going for 27 points in the playoff game.
Mhm.
But big props to them. They're off to the next round. Anthony Edwards and company are going to be waiting on the winners of the Warriors and Rockets series. They are playing in a game 6 right now. I believe it is on ESPN. Who do you got going through in this one? Rockets are up 4 points right before halftime here.
Yeah, I think the Warriors will figure it out, especially at home. That'll propel them past them. Barring like Draymond Green getting kicked out or something like that. I think the Warriors finish it, especially in a game 7. I think the experience in a game 7, Rockets haven't been in there. I think it'll definitely propel them to finish off the series for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd probably agree. It doesn't feel like the Warriors are up or we're up 3-1 and now up 3-2. I feel like it's like neck and neck, like a 1-1, 2-2, 3-3 kind of deal. But yeah, I think the Rockets are impressive. They're obviously a super young team, but they do have a couple of vets that are kind of been there, done that. Fred Van Vliet, I know he's not like the elite of the elite, but like he was there when Kawhi and company won their title in 19. Steven Adams is there. Big presence coming off the bench, so he's pretty impressive. And then you got Dylan Brooks as well. He's kind of a Draymond Green 2.0 and just getting the boys going and stuff. So and so we'll see. I think the Rockets win tonight and push it to a game 7, and anything can happen in a game 7. But as we know, Steph Curry can turn it on at any given moment and just kind of finish you. So I think having Jimmy Butler back is huge for that Warriors team. I think they really missed him when they lost the last game. So we'll see how the game tonight kind of ends up going. But I'm not sure if you had too much to add about that. But I think it'll be cool to see the Warriors and the Timberwolves, either one of these teams. But Warriors, Timberwolves, Steph and Ant, that would be a great series in the second round. Moving on to the eastern side of the bracket, Pacers eliminate the Bucks after Tyrese Halliburton's game winner in game 5. Did they eliminate him in 5 games? Is that correct? Yeah, 5 games, 4-1.
Yeah, yep.
Massive collapse by the Bucks in the last minute or so. I think they were up, I want to say by 4 or 5 with under a minute to go. And just comedy of errors at the end. Pacers making them pay, especially with that Tyrese Halliburton winner. Giannis Antetokounmpo had a triple double, 30-point triple double. Gary Trent Jr. 33 points, very impressive playoff run by him. But the Bucks ultimately just don't have it. I think in that game that happened right after our last podcast, Damian Lillard went down.
Mhm.
Um, and everybody was
Yeah.
just kind of like, "Oh, like what's going on? Is he injured?" Blah blah. I was like, I took one look at how he fell, bro. I was like, that's an Achilles. Like, how do people like still like question this? Like, so he tore his ACL, Achilles, and will be out long term for the Bucks. Unfortunately, really missing him in this game. But what do you got to say about the Pacers pulling through and eliminating the Bucks? Giannis out or what?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good series. I wouldn't even say it was a good series. It was a good game. Bucks just kind of just imploded, especially at the end. Kudos to Halliburton. Like, he was actually voted by NBA players as the most overrated player in the NBA. And then he goes out, hits a game winner over Giannis, and his first reaction was to say overrate that, which is like the correct reaction after
I
doing
didn't
that.
see that
But kind of,
part. I knew that
you
they
didn't, you
voted him
didn't.
that, but I didn't see that part. No.
Yeah, I can't believe I think he said it after the game and then he tweeted it, but I could be wrong. He
I did
might have
see the
just tweeted
tweet now
it,
that
but
you're mentioning that. I think I did see that. Sorry.
yeah, but kind of like, unfortunately, like the Pistons game, it wasn't the last shot, but it was right at the end. There was a really 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 bad turnover by the Bucks that set up the Halliburton possession to win the game. I can't remember who it was, but it kind of like the ball just slipped out of his hands, went out of bounds on a pass, and I was just like, that's such a hard way to kind of lose and end a game. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Bucks end up doing, what Giannis ends up doing this offseason. That's going to be probably the biggest story if he decides to leave.
Yeah. He's had the opportunity to leave the Bucks before and hasn't, even since the title win. So I feel like if I'm him, I've showed my loyalty, time and time again, really for the Bucks. I gave them a
Yeah,
title. The team around him is just not great. I mean, their starters are literally Bobby Portis, Gary Trent, Kevin Porter, and AJ Green. So,
yeah,
massive failure by the front office. So I'm trying to go somewhere else and squeeze the last couple of years of his prime, um, you know, somewhere else and try to get another title at another team. I would be pumped if the Thunder, like, I mean, the Thunder are in a prime position to
oh yeah,
offer him. Like, we could give them Hartenstein, like a couple solid role players, and like all the picks that they would ever want in a deal.
yeah.
So I would if we don't win the championship this year, like obviously that all hinges on us not winning. If we win, they probably don't do it, but like
I
if we
think they
fall
would.
short again, I think we're up there. So I was telling Jared, not to get off on a little bit of a rabbit trail here, but I was telling Jared, like, if the Thunder lose, like Sam Presti has to go get him. Like
Mm-hmm.
we've like he's been so good at creating so many great teams. Like we've had the KD, Russ, Harden, and we had Paul George, we had Carmelo Anthony, we've had Chris Paul along the way. Like so many great players have come and gone. Like we have the team now that's just like it's so much like he has to finish the deal with this squad. And if he doesn't this
Mm-hmm.
year, he has to go out and get that guy that's gonna bring that to us. And like you pair Giannis with what we have in Jalen Williams and SGA and some of that. Obviously, you're gonna have to trade away some of the bench depth, but like we have so many players that can contribute. Like it's not going to matter that much. So like, and you're going to get a guy that's going to hold down the paint with Chet Holmgren. Like, good luck scoring on us. So if I'm Sam Presti, you got to close that deal and get us a title, man. So we'll see. But if I'm Giannis, I'm definitely wanting out. So um,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
and the Bucks could be set up with a pretty good rebuild with all those picks if they do a deal with the Thunder. So
I mean, that's ideal for the Bucks, is to get all those picks
yeah,
from the Thunder. I think they're hoping that's actually what happens, because isn't it,
so
they
too.
don't have a first round pick for like 6 years
Yeah,
or something
something
like
like
that?
that, bro.
Yeah,
Like
dude, they're just
2030, I think.
shambles, dude.
Right. Yeah. So tough
Yeah,
times
yeah,
probably for the
that's
Bucks
just
coming up.
terrible.
But congrats to the Pacers going to the next round. Unfortunately, I think they're dead meat, dead on arrival against the Cavs. But I think they might win one game, one or two games, I would say. But I hope they make it a series, just because I'm not the biggest Cavs fan. But Tyrese Halliburton's got to show a lot more consistency in that series than he did in the
Yeah.
Bucks series, that's for sure. But moving on to the Celtics series, like we said, gentlemen's sweep here for the Celtics. blew out the Magic like 30 points, 31 points, I believe, in game 5 there. So no real issues there. The 5 All-Stars just playing really well all together, like we're kind of used to seeing. And easy work there for the Celtics. I was seeing though this week that they're going to have to probably break up the tandem here after this year, just because they have all those guys making 20 plus $1 million a year. They're way above the second apron and everything, having to pay a lot of guys. So one, maybe two guys get traded away. A lot of people are talking about Drew Holiday just because he's 34 plus years old. Kristaps Porzingis, wrong side of 30 now. He's
Mm-hmm.
making a ton of money. So most likely one of those guys, because I don't think that they trade Jalen or Jason Tatum. But it's the NBA. Anything can happen. You're trading Luka Doncic away. So, um, but we'll see how
Right.
they're able to kind of retool going forward. But they have a really good shot to go back to back this year. I don't know if you had anything to add here about the Celtics, but pretty straightforward series by them.
Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to say. We kind of saw this coming. Magic got one game, but the gentleman's sweep was still in play, and the Celtics ended it for sure.
Yeah, solid stuff. Cavs also take care of the Heat. Massive, like they blew them out like 55 points or something crazy. So just sweeping the Heat aside, literally, figuratively, all the other leads that you can think about. Not too much other things to say about that series. So the Thunder and the Cavs both complete sweeps. Most likely heading to a actually, I was going to give a prediction for the for that side, but the Eastern Conference second round is Cavs Pacers and Knicks Celtics. That Knicks Celtics game series is going to be, I think, a nail biter. You had the Celtics winning pretty easily here, but do you think that's going to be a series?
I I don't know. I might have to do some revisionist history, but I think the Celtics are just still too good. I think they definitely just find their way through. I think you said it last week. The way you put it when we did the picks was like the Celtics just make their way through the Eastern Conference, and
Yeah.
not Eastern. Yeah, the Eastern
Yep.
Conference. But I I I just think that's what's going to happen. They're just too deep, too good. They're going to have to rethink their whole roster next season, but that's after they probably win another championship this season.
Yeah. Yeah. Cavs Pacers on the other side. We just kind of touched on that, but the Thunder and Timberwolves on the other side of the bracket, awaiting their opponents. The Thunder at this point are just going to be sitting around. I think they're coming up on a week of just sitting around waiting for their next opponent. So they're going to
Yeah.
be well rested going into that series for sure. And lastly, here we just wanted to touch on a coach situation here. Most of you probably know that Coach Popovich is going to be officially stepping down from the Spurs position there. He's been dealing with health issues for like 2 or 3 years at this point. He's kind of been in and out of the coaching, his coaching duties and everything. So not a huge shock that he's officially going to be retiring. And I don't think he's actually retiring. I think he's going to be the president or whatever. But officially
Mhm.
stepping down as the coach of the Spurs. 5 titles. He's been there for like 20 some odd years, I want to say. Huge legend of the game with all those Spurs teams that had Ginobili and Tony Parker and all the bald guys, Tim Duncan and all those boys. So, what do you got to say about Coach Pop here stepping down finally?
Yeah, it was a decision that I think everybody saw coming. Honestly, he probably made the decision like a while back, but just with like ending the season with how it was and like Wemby going down and all this happening, he probably didn't want to just drop the news. He wanted the guys to keep playing. Because obviously the Spurs have a lot to look forward to. Obviously, Wemby will be back. They'll figure that out. Castle just won Rookie of the Year. They're in the lottery for, Cooper Flag. Just imagine that. Some are saying they could even make a play for Giannis. And like, dude, think
I was
about
seeing that.
Giannis, De'Aaron Fox, Wemby, and Stephon Castle. Like that's a really really good team. And then just add some fringe players that will help fill the holes. But that's a good roster. But yeah, sad news seeing Pop kind of end his career the way that he did. He's just like super funny, like super serious guy, but really funny. Like I was seeing a bunch of posts about like all the crazy quotes that he had over the years and stuff like that. So Yeah, sad to see him go the way it was, but it was time. He was really old, and after this medical scare, it's just time to kind of hang it up, take a step back, enjoy your grandkids, enjoy the rest of your life. You don't need to live with all this stress as a head coach, even if you do love it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the guy's 76 years old, so he's super old
It's
for,
time.
today's NBA coaches. I feel like all the guys are like 50 and below. I want to say at this point 55 maybe. So
Yeah.
it's really really old. They haven't made the playoffs in 6 seasons, which is crazy for the standard that he's kind of created over there in San Antonio. They haven't won a playoff series since 2017, so been a
Really?
long, long time since he's really experienced any success there. They finally got a blue chip prospect in Wembanyama. Maybe get a little bit more help this year, like you were saying. Stephon Castle is there now, so who knows what they're able to do in the future. But like you said, I do think it's time for him to finally kind of take a step away. Like I said,
Yeah.
he is probably going to be the or he is going to be the team president going forward, so he'll still be around the building and everything. Guy like that's a lifer, like he's never going to be away from basketball for too much. But he does retire as the all-time winningest coach in the NBA with 1,422 wins. So very impressive career.
Yeah.
5 NBA titles, all with one team. So that's very, very cool as well. So hopefully he enjoys his retirement. So that's kind of do it for the NBA portion of the podcast. I know it's a little bit lengthy, but it's kind of just this and Champions League really going on right now. So and obviously it's the playoffs, so we just kind of got to dissect each each series a little bit more than we usually would. So, yeah, without further ado, we'll get into a little football coming up here, and Fez, you'll bring us in.
Alrighty, hopping over the pond like we usually do. We're going to start off with just mentioning a little bit of the Premier League, even though that is done and dusted now. Liverpool last Sunday officially winning the league, so congrats to them. Slot getting the Premier League in his first year as manager. He kind of shouted out Jurgen Klopp at the
Yeah,
at the
saw
end
that.
of their ceremony, which was a cool nod to Klopp, and obviously in recognition of what Klopp handed over to him. Like he handed
Mm-hmm.
over like a top 10 team in Europe, maybe even top five. Obviously a top five now, but. Good for Liverpool winning the league once again. But again, it was kind of done and dusted like weeks ago. So, but we figured we'd mention that since the Premier League is definitely one of, if not the top league in all of Europe. But speaking of Europe, we're going to take a look at the Champions League now. We had the semis this past week, two really, really good games with really, really good teams. Obviously, two teams that we both root for, Arsenal playing PSG in the first game, in the first leg of that tie, and then Barcelona playing Inter in their first game in the first leg in the first tie. But we're gonna take a look at Arsenal first, and this was I don't know this is kind of a weird game. Again, this was the game that I didn't watch a whole lot of because I was at work, but I'll kind of hand it over to you, Sam. How did you feel like your Gunners did against PSG on this day?
Yeah, not too bad. Everything considered. Boy, when we went down to the third minute, I was like, oh boy,
Yeah.
this is going to be a rout. But obviously, we responded really, really well. Our defense did pretty impressive for who we had back there. Kivior and Lewis Skelly kind of on that left side did pretty well overall, I would say. PSG though, I mean, they tried a little bit more in the first half, but I felt like, especially in the second half, they were just kind of content to have their 1 goal lead. Just get out of
Mm-hmm.
London with that 1 goal advantage. Like they didn't do anything crazy like risk wise or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a little bit surprising, I would say. But I mean, I said this so many times, I'll say it again. Like we're missing a striker so bad. Like we get in these positions where clear cut opportunities, and it just we have Trossard trying to finish chances and stuff. Decent player, but like
Yeah.
he's not a striker. Miko Marino's been doing well for us. Obviously, he scored some goals as of late, but again, not a striker. He's like literally a CDM. So like it's just we desperately need a target man that we can cross the ball to, a guy that can run in behind. And we were just really missing that this game. Odegaard, you could kind of tell he was still kind of, not completely back yet. Saka had a pretty good
Uh-huh.
game. Um,
Yeah.
but overall, solid game by my Gunners. Definitely thought it was going to get out of hand early, but big props to PSG. Again, their midfield played really well, kind of just neutralizing our guys as well. Declan Rice, they kind of kept him quiet, even though he was good defensively. Nothing crazy as far as offensive production or anything like that. We were really, really missing Thomas Partey, I would say. He's just,
Uh-huh.
the engine. He's everywhere, bro. Like every counterattack that we have going against us, somehow he gets back and clears the danger. So really need him back. Hakimi had an amazing game. Big props to him. The keeper, Donnarumma, can't say enough
Yeah.
about him. He was massive. So just a really, really good game, just end to end stuff. One of those games that goes by really fast. You feel like that was like a 20 minutes and the game was over. So it was an exciting game. Really even stat wise, shot wise, possession wise, everything. So it's really gearing up to be a great game going back to Paris, and we're going to need a lot to go our way for sure. So big props to PSG, but hopefully we score a couple in Paris.
Yeah, I thought it was a great game too. You guys looked a little shaky at the beginning, but then kind of found your footing because you guys have a very capable midfield as well. So there, I
Yep.
didn't see PSG really running all over you guys once you guys got into it. Unfortunate to give up that early goal, which kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. But I'm with you. I was very, very like surprised that PSG didn't try to kill the game off way more than they did. Because I mean, that's kind of their style. Is kind of like counterattacking when their wingers and stuff like that. They have a lot of very young, fast, athletic players. But yeah, it was just interesting to see that they didn't really push for that second goal. I know Martinelli had a couple chances, and kind of like what you were saying, Donnarumma like had a really really good game. Really had some really really good stops to keep you guys from scoring. So it
Yeah.
will be interesting. Having Thomas Partey back will be huge for you guys in that second leg. So that will definitely be a huge ad for you guys, and it'll be interesting to see how the second leg shapes up.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's interesting. Just one last thing. I think you
mhm,
mentioned Martinelli. I think his finishing has taken a huge step back this year, in my opinion.
mhm,
Still can get himself into those positions and sometimes create for others, but he's missing a lot of chances that he would have put away last year. I'm not really sure what that you can chalk that up to. I know he's dealt with some injuries this year, but he should really be putting away some of those chances for sure. And I think on the other side, Jury Timber, like I would sit in for the next game. I mean, Kvaratskhelia
mhm,
was like he was running all over him in the first half. Lot of
mhm,
fouls by Timber. I don't know how the heck he did not get booked in this game. He should have had a yellow card by the 30th minute. So I'd like to see him drop for probably Ben White. I know he's not as fast, but
mhm.
he brings a lot more other things. He pushes him to Saliba. The way that they both work together, I think, can be a lot better than having Drury and Timber out there on an island just picking up fouls left and right. So
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see who you guys roll out. Definitely some changes that could be made that could be beneficial. Again, some players coming back from suspension that will definitely help you guys out. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I've definitely, dude, I wish I could take those 2 days off and just watch those games, man.
I know.
I hate that it's on while I'm at work. It sucks so much, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But moving on to Barcelona and Inter, this game had fireworks. It was not a defensive masterclass at all. They ended up drawing 3-3, and Inter went up 30 seconds into the game with a crazy back heel. Bit unfortunate. Kunde did not have a good clearance, kind of cleared the ball to the opposite side of the field, not very deep. Inter were able to get on it, cross the ball in, and yeah, just a crazy back heel goal. Super, super um, super I just looked at it, I was like, dude, that's just a great finish. Like I don't know
Yeah.
what else they're supposed to do, like back heel to finish that goal. But like I said, ended up drawing 3-3. Obviously, you were keeping up with this game because we were texting back and forth. I did not have a lot going on that day, thankfully, so I was able to watch basically all of it. I missed the second goal that Inter scored because I was driving home,
Bro.
but yeah,
That
yeah,
one was the
dude.
craziest one, bro. That
Or
bicycle
was that
kick.
the overhead kick? Which
That
one was
was
the
the
overhead kick? Was it?
overhead. Yeah, it was the
Oh,
second
okay.
one.
I missed the third goal. That's what I missed. I
Okay.
saw the overhead kick, which was crazy. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But how did you see this game going? You called it. I will give you props. You called it because we both obviously watched the Copa del Rey, and you said Barcelona is exposed in the back with how they play defense, and that is definitely something that Inter will take a look at and expose. And they did. They for sure did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, kind of like what you just said. I just saw that second half against Madrid and how much Barca struggled. I thought, I mean, I
Yeah.
texted you this, but like their refusal to go away from a high line was just baffling in this
Mm,
game with so much speed that can get in behind Marcus
yeah.
Thuram, Lautaro Martinez, Denzel Dumfries, like Mkhitaryan, even their center mids, Calhanoglu, Mkhitaryan. I mean, those guys aren't slow guys. So like their refusal
Yeah.
to not go to a more traditional back line was just a crazy thing. And it took them 2 goals to really figure out like, hey, we should probably switch this up. So thankfully, for them, they were able to rebound pretty quickly with a couple of goals from Yamal and from Ferran Torres before the first half even ended. So kind of a course correction there pretty quickly, which I think they're fortunate because I mean,
Yeah.
enter back line is one of the best, at least performance wise in Europe. So really fortunate to get a couple goals there. And like you said, they enters. Inter were able to tack on a third, but again, pretty shortly after Barcelona got their third as well. But I think that Barcelona, if they try to start again with a high line, I think they're going to concede another couple goals in the first half. So we'll see what they
Yeah.
do back in Milan. But um, I wanted to get your opinion on this. But on the Barcelona third goal, did you see that goal? It's technically an own goal
Yeah.
with the crazy shot. Was it Yamal that shot that?
No, it was Rafinha.
Oh, yes, it was Rafinha. You're right. Dude, this I know I'm a Barca hater, like whatever, but like the amount of rage that it gave me listening to the announcers go on and on and on about this incredible shot, incredible accuracy,
Yeah.
amazing whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, great shot, but like you hit the post, it came off homie's back and went in. Like that wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't a screamer of a goal or anything like that. But I
No.
was like, that was peeving me off so bad live. I was like, shut up. Like, and of course it's Ray Hudson, all-time Barcelona worshiper, but like whatever. I was
Yeah.
like so annoyed at that.
Yeah, no, I definitely that was actually going to be my next topic of discussion was like the fact that Barcelona is extremely lucky to get out of there with a tie, taking
Yeah.
a draw back to Milan, like uh, so lucky, and it kind of like segues into my next topic, so I'll get to that. But yeah, I think it was extremely lucky. And is that all they use Rafinha for? Are these stupid long shots and just his speed over the top?
Yeah,
And he's
I
in
guess.
like, and I love Barcelona. I'm a Barcelona fan, and I don't think that Rafinha should be in the Ballon d'Or talks because
No,
if
dude.
it wasn't
Come on.
for Lamine Yamal or De Jong or Pedri, he would not have nearly half the goals that he has because he would not be getting the service that he needs to score the goals. And then, he's playing against these like mid-table La Liga teams and just taking these pop shots from outside the 18. Like that's all he does.
Yeah.
It's like
I mean,
like
he missed a
dude,
couple super like he couldn't even put it on goal against Madrid, like on his favored left foot, like just dragging it wide like 2 or 3 times. So yeah,
yeah.
not great. Not my Ballon d'Or winner, that's for sure. I did
Yeah.
want to get your opinion on one thing though. I like the away goals rule, bro. I hate
Mm,
that they got rid of that,
mm,
especially for like ties like this where it's just like
yeah.
not just because of like I hate it because obviously they tied, and that's like one thing where it's just like when you tie now, like there's zero reason that you played the game. It's basically like, oh, like just
Hmm.
whatever, you just throw it away. It's basically like a win or go home situation now at the other people's field. but like so it not only does that render that game basically meaningless because it's basically like starting from scratch, but like Inter, even though they scored 3 goals in Barcelona, had the lead, they come away with nothing from that. Like having an away
Mm-hmm.
goals rule where it gets a lot more complex going back home would be like, it just, I feel like it makes the series like way more interesting. And you score one away, and then like the other team has a lot more work to do when they're going to your house. So I hate that they got rid of that. And it's especially for ties like this where it's just like if you were an Inter fan, you'd be like, oh man, like we scored 3 goals away. That means if we just have to tie them, unless
Mm-hmm.
something crazy happens where they score 4-4, at our place, we're through. Or from like Barcelona's perspective, like, like, oh, we need to do this. I don't know. I just feel like it just creates so much more suspense when you have that away goals rule. I know Americans don't understand it, but they don't understand anything about soccer. So, um,
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like what you were saying, like Inter walks away with like nothing. Like yeah, whoop de doo. We just scored 3 goals away from home against a good Barca side, and we have nothing to show for it because Barca had two really well taken goals, and then they got lucky on a third one, and that lucky third one just makes it like, yep, we're going back to Milan. The only advantage we have is that we're playing in Milan now. Like, yeah, the away goals just definitely adds it, not only to like the suspense, but like how you play tactically. Like, if you're Barca and you know that you play a high line, maybe they don't because it's like, well, if we can like if conceding at home means so much more at that point, and now it doesn't because it's like, oh yeah, as long as we walk away with a tie, we go to Milan with a fighting chance instead of feeling like, man, we lost that game because we drew and they scored 3 goals on us at home. And so yeah, I completely agree. I don't know why they're changing it. Maybe they want more extra time because that means more TV time and whatnot. I don't know.
I
It's
think that
all
was
about
one of the
money.
reasons that they changed it.
Yeah, it's all about money at the end of the day. More TV time means more money, more people watching this, that, and the other. So, yeah, I mean, I don't expect them to make any good changes. I think I saw a report the other day that they're actually thinking about getting rid of extra time now and going straight to penalties, which that doesn't make sense. But now they're trying to save time. I don't know. Super doesn't make sense. I don't make the rules. I wish they kept it the way it was. Wish they kept the whole format the way it was. I mean, we've talked on and on this podcast about how we hate the new league table format. It's just,
Oh my
you have
goodness,
all
it's
these
awful.
there's you have really really bad games just with how the format sets up games. Like you'll have like a few like Real Madrid versus Dortmund, or Manchester City versus PSG or something like that. But if it's really at the beginning of the table phase, I guess they call it, then it really doesn't mean that much when it was group stage. But
Yeah.
anyways, we could go on and on about that. I know we kind of talked about this before, and I guess this is where I will end it. But I wanted to we kind of talked Ballon d'Or and Lamine Yamal and stuff like that. I know you're not high on him, but the one thing I wanted to say, and I'm not saying this saying he should get the Ballon d'Or, I would give it to him over Rafinha, kind of for what I said, just a little bit ago. Um, but I have not seen a player in this new era of football that plays so creatively like they used to back in the day. And I think that's what makes him stand out. Because back when we were growing up with the Messis, Ronaldos, Bales, Benzema's, all these players that were just super creative that could take on 4 or 5 players and score a goal out of thin air. Like we were just accustomed to that. But now, and we give flack to ESPN FC all the time because they have really bad takes. But someone had like a really good take that I'm gonna actually use. He was saying football is so robotic nowadays, and he was using that and saying like Lamine
Thanks,
Yamal
Pep.
doesn't play that way. Dude, for real. But he was saying like it's so A to B, B to C, C to D, like football, where you don't even have wingers taking players on, which is like how I grew up. Like wingers were supposed to be some of the most creative players on the pitch, and Lamine Yamal is doing that at 17. And so I guess I just want to get your opinion on like, do you appreciate that, and do you wish there was more of that in modern football now?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's no way I could I could say that I don't want more creative guys like that. I think the only player, if you want to consider Yamal a guy like that, that I've seen in the modern game that wants to take people on is that. I think I mentioned him a couple weeks ago when we are talking about PSG. Is the really young, sometimes comes off the bench, but I think he started against Arsenal. Really young PSG guy. I don't know his first name, but I think his name is Due. He's super young,
Yep.
18, 19-year-old kid. Watched a little bit of tape on him just because I was looking at some of the PSG guys before the Arsenal clash, and like he's a creative player that takes people on. He
Hmm.
has some nice skills. Wasn't pulling out anything crazy for the Arsenal, but there was a couple long balls over the top where he would get fancy with the touch, and like he wasn't screwing it up. So like maybe he's a guy.
Yeah.
He's super young, so maybe he'll develop some of those skills and start taking some people on. But for whatever reason, that my Instagram reels gave me a couple Ronaldinho clips this past week, and I was just like, man, like
Nice.
what a time that was. Even at Milan,
I
where he was
know.
considered washed, like it's such a crazy, just a crazy, transition we've had from the players that we used to watch. And even like Neymar, man, like he obviously Neymar's
Hmm.
super old now, but like there's really no one coming out of like the places that you usually see these guys come out of is Brazil with all these skills and stuff, but I'm not seeing too many of them anymore, unfortunately. So um,
Yeah. No, I agree. I was just. Did you send it to me? It was I can't remember the player's name, but he played at Porto, and it was just showing like all his
dude,
skills.
yes, bro, Quaresma,
Yes, yes, dude.
legend, bro.
I watched that reel probably like 3 times in a row because I was just like, this is what this is the football I grew up with, dude. Just creativity, free flowing, ball stuck to your foot. And another thing I will say, like to differentiate, like people might. I mean, I don't know how many people will be in our comments. Not a lot are usually in our comments, but like if people watch this and they're like, "Well, there's creativity," like Martinelli and all these guys. I'm not talking about like a step over and then pushing the ball out like
Yeah,
15 yards ahead of you and running after it.
yeah,
Like
bro, exactly.
I would even lump like a little bit like Rodrigo's pretty creative, but he still does that. It's not like I'm talking like ball glued to your foot, just weaving in and out of people, fainting, like megging people, like
Dude,
just super creative.
the guy that I sent you to, bro, like I would borderline like he's more impressive than like Neymar and some of these more maybe not than Ronaldinho, but like he was like I don't even know how to explain it really. Like the things that he would do with the ball, like the amount of control that he would have, it wasn't just
Yeah.
skills. Like the way that he would pass, like there'd be a long ball over the top, and he would like trap slash pass, and it'd be like at chest level to like a
Mhm.
striker or whatever. Like the stuff that he would pull off the outside of the boot that Lamine Yamal tries 10 times a game and only gets 3 of them.
Yeah.
Like just an incredible player. And like he was never really at top clubs. Like I said to you in
Mhm.
Instagram, he had a cup of coffee at Chelsea. I remember him there in 2009,
Yeah.
but like never really got to a big club, but definitely had the skills to be at that top tier for sure. But I'm not sure if I put this in the doc or not, but I did have something to say about Europa League and Conference League. I'm not sure how much
Okay.
if you wanted to end out the skills part there. I think I feel like we covered that pretty well. But this isn't maybe a conversation. I wanted to get your opinion on it as well.
Mhm.
I think we've touched on it before. Maybe not as much of a conversation for the Europa League as it is for the Conference League,
Mhm.
but just the clubs, I guess, that are in the Conference League and the Europa League. The Europa League, I feel like it's pretty consistently like lives up to like that second tier competition. Like in the quarterfinals, you had teams like Lazio and Rangers and Bilbao and Eintracht Frankfurt, Lyon. So like very teams that you'd be like, okay, yeah, like they're second tier. So that's kind of
Mhm.
what that competition is for. But like I've said this before, I know I have on the podcast, but the Conference League, bro, annoys me because like
Yeah. What are
it
we
was
doing?
made literally for the um like the smaller teams in the smaller countries for them to
Mhm.
have a competition. But since they're like so obsessed with pushing like the big countries and the coefficient, you get teams in there that aren't really supposed to be in, like Fiorentina from Italy, Betis from Spain, you're Chelsea, who are like gonna win the whole thing by default.
Yeah.
Like I have a
Yeah,
buddy
dude.
that's a Chelsea fan from work, and he said that he was
Hmm.
watching highlights of their game against Djurgården or whatever. Like they won like 4-1 in the semifinals. You're winning 4-1. And they weren't even like celebrating. They were playing with like a glorified B team, and they weren't even like
Yeah.
celebrating their goals. Like they're just like, yeah, whatever. And the only reason I bring that up is because like I remember when I first started watching soccer, Romania used to have a automatic champions. Like if you won the league, you were automatically in the Champions League group phases, and that kind of applied for a lot of teams in the a lot of leagues in the Eastern Europe. But now, like they've created this competition that's supposed to be for um, smaller countries, and they've skewed the coefficient so badly now that like
Hmm.
our champion gets into the first qualifying stage of the Champions League, where we have to go through 4 different stages of qualification to get through. And you can apply that basically all the teams and leagues in Eastern Europe. And like they're continuing to give like more and more places to the like England and Germany have 5 Champions League spots and 3 Europa Leagues, and like you're dumped down into the Conference League. How Chelsea got in there, like
Hmm.
their one Conference League spot or whatever. So like you're skewing the competition so badly, where it's originally supposed to be a competition and the Europa League, where like you get smaller teams in there to raise their coefficient to have more parity, and you're just making it so much worse by letting bigger teams from like those same big countries get in there and destroy all the smaller teams. So
Hmm.
that's just something that really bothers me. Like I was just following the Romanian league, and we only have 3 spots that get into Europe now. We have Champions League qualifiers is the champion. Second league goes straight into Conference League and the qualities for that. And then third, same thing. And the only Europa League spot is the cup winners of our domestic cup. So and I was looking, some of the other countries just for some research because I'm a nerd like that. And it's kind of the same deal in those smaller countries, like countries like Austria and Slovenia and Serbia and Poland, like they're all dealing with kind of the same thing. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
rant on that a little bit. I think I might have put that in the doc, maybe not, but just wanted to kind of mention that. I don't know if you have too much to say about that. Obviously, I come at it from a place of being from a country that I feel like is a little bit looked down upon when it comes to some of these coefficients and systems that they're rolling out. But I don't know if you
Hmm.
agree. Obviously, your Chelsea is looking like they're going to have a European triumph this year, if you can really call it that. But I don't know how you feel about just running through all these small teams. So
Yeah, no, I actually agree with you. And I think the whole skewing of the coefficient is definitely something they probably have planned. Because if you think about it, like we were saying before, it's all just money. It's
yeah,
all money. And like, how can we just get, okay, Chelsea, that's the thing. Like, and it's kind of, as a Chelsea fan, it's embarrassing to me. It's like we should be in the Champions League, but we're not. So we're basically relegated to this conference league. But in their minds, they're like, oh man, this is working out perfectly because we have Chelsea on TV in the Conference League. Like,
yeah,
it's just they definitely skewed it to make more money so they could get more of the bigger teams in these European competitions so people would care about them. And I don't think it's really working because like I don't watch the Conference League and my team's in it. Like again, like I said, it's embarrassing to me that we're just running through them. I think we brought on a 16-year-old that's never played a day in his life for Chelsea on the other day in a semifinal of a European competition.
hmm
But like you said, it was meant for the smaller teams that don't get into Europe. Like when West Ham won it, I think the first year it was a thing.
yeah.
Like good for
Like
them. They'll
Roma and West Ham have won both of the finals, and they're like
right.
known big teams. Like this should not be for them, bro.
Right. It's not for them. It's to give these little guys like, something to play for, get to be on TV, win a Europa trophy, like not Europa, a European trophy. So yeah, I would tend to agree with you. They definitely skew it to satisfy their own weird desires to have bigger teams playing all the time, like every day. Like, 2 days out of the week in the Champions League isn't enough to have, the big teams playing. They got to have them playing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it's all a money thing.
Yeah, and I guess just to round this out, they the whole reason that they created the conference league is because they were trying to make up for the fact that they had skewed the coefficient so badly in favor of those big teams already, where they were taking so much revenue away from the smaller countries and the smaller teams. in favor of those bigger teams for, like you said, money, that they're like, oh yeah, here's your little conference league, but they still couldn't help themselves and still made it so that all the big teams still end up winning anyway. I I just don't know how, like, I have such good memories of like my team from Romania in 2012. We got 10 points in the Champions League. We won at Old Trafford against an Alex Ferguson Man United side. We went to Rome, tied there. Well, I think won once. Like, it was an incredible experience, and like those experiences are so few and far in between now for smaller countries that I think it's just so sad. And not just do you have like miss out on experiences like that, but like the money that some of those smaller clubs from smaller countries get by being in the Champions League was great for parity. It was great for those other countries. Like, they're constantly talking about a trickle down effect, and that's just something that you're not going to be seeing anymore. And it's just a sad thing overall because like you were saying, it's bad for the top teams, it's bad for the small teams, and unfortunately that's just not going to be, because it would even attract players that would come in from other places that they wouldn't necessarily be joining, but since it's a Champions League club, they're going to be joining there. So it's just it's really sad. Overall, it doesn't help anything, and that's just kind of my opinion on it. So yeah, sad situation, but I guess that's kind of where I'll leave it as far as that's concerned. So
Yeah, definitely. Super sad. And you just hate to see it. It just feels like the game we love is just getting, I don't know, more and more tainted every year. Just, different.
we sound like old heads, really do, but I can't, like, it really is.
I,
It's getting ruined,
it,
dude.
it is, man. Like
Saudi, Qatar, bro. Like,
yeah, yeah. It's
sad.
all, it's all just, I mean, I hopefully that like the game will always be fun. There's always gonna be drama. There's always gonna be things to look forward to. But yeah,
Yeah.
just a lot of the powers that be having their way, and it's definitely ruining the game for sure. But with that being said, I think I apologize if the podcast ends up being weird. My camera cut out, but you were still talking, and so I was fixing that, and then it stopped my recording, but I came back and you were still talking. So I have no idea how the end of this is going to look. You'll still be able to hear Sam. Not sure if you'll be able to see me, but with that being said, I think that's a pod.
That is a pod.
Yeah,
Finally.
we appreciate you guys hanging with us again through the technical difficulties. I feel like it's always happening, but it's what we got to put up with as a small podcast till we can start throwing some real money at this thing, I guess. But we hope you guys will check us out on all our platforms. Go follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, like and subscribe, do all the things, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.